Slayer.
There's so many.
Is this 2 or what?
This is the first one. Slayer. Oh, bless its heart. It's horizontal.
Oh, cool.
I played Halo 2 upstairs with Jordan.
There's no aim button, I just realized, because I pressed the left trigger and threw a grenade. Oh, so is it going now?
Yeah, it is. Hey! Cheers.
F*** you. Are we allowed to swear on this?
No. Listening to Blink stuff and what they were like when they were younger than us at this point, and I just feel like I would have hated being around them.
As people?
As people.
Okay.
And, like, now, of course, it is, like, the punk thing to be a bad musician.
Yes. That's fair. I mean, we were talking about this not on this video, but on Twitter recently about how Green Day sort of seemed like it was on the cusp of becoming something, something bigger. Maybe they were going to be like the political statement rock band, kind of like U2 was in the 80s or 90s. And obviously the Beatles to an extent were, and a lot of bands do political statements, but when American Idiot came out, it really seemed like Green Day was on the cusp of something. And like, oh, they mean, it's punk music, but it, means something, right? Because that's sort of the critique of punk music of that era, is that it lost the soul. It wasn't really against the system anymore, man. It was just kind of mindless, as you mentioned, not very good musicianship, and guys singing about sex and drinking and skateboarding.
I mean, honestly, as far as musicians go, Travis Barker.
Oh.
Like, just the best of them all.
Oh, for sure. He's a legend. I mean, okay, so when you say you wouldn't have liked who they were as people, do you mean like if you had to play in a band with them, or you mean literally socializing with them at all would have like given you anxiety?
Not anxiety per se, but socially, I think I would have been really annoyed spending time with them. Like, there were clips in the Urethra Chronicles of like going to another dude and like pulling down his pants so the camera could look, and that I would. Well, for one thing, I think nowadays, the whole #MeToo thing would come up.
That's fair.
I mean, like, that would be very uncomfortable for me to even like be in the same room as. So, with that in mind, I think I would have been, anxious.
That's something. Okay. That's a really interesting point. I think about that a lot, of just the way women were, I don't want to say treated necessarily, but the way they were portrayed in like music videos and really music in general doesn't really jive. And it sort of doesn't really jive with, I think, how our 2018 sensibilities look at women, which in a lot of ways is a good thing. Like, about, women are people. So that's good. But, like, I mean, just things like, when there's a live concert and the singer on stage is shouting at random women in the crowd to flash them. Like, I don't think that would happen. Or it probably won't happen as much now.
There's a weird thing I noticed too. A few months ago, someone put up, maybe it was a photo of an all-time low show or something, and they have bras hanging on the mic stand and whatnot. And I really hope I'm not the first one that realizes who All Time Low's audience is, and the age of the people who threw them up for him to display. Like, that seems very, really creepy to me.
That's a solid point.
I think that should really rub everyone the wrong way.
Agreed. And I mean, but that kind of goes to, like, can you compartmentalize that and still enjoy? And that's a much broader conversation. Can you compartmentalize the art in exchange for kind of, dealing with that maybe these people that we liked or that we listened to or watched on television weren't like great people. But you were bringing up that that's not always the case when it came. You saw some maturity in at least Tom DeLonge, since we were talking about Blink at the start of this.
Yeah.
This map is not very big.
No, it's not. I'm surprised. I don't remember this map whatsoever.
Me either.
It's been so long since I've actually played
Fair
this
enough.
one. That's not to say that Blink didn't have mature moments either. I mean, Adam's
Sure.
songs, "Stay Together for the Kids," are
Absolutely.
very mature pieces
Not
of music.
now.
Not now, yeah. And then you have, they're just trying to make it through, which are songs like "First Date," "What's My Age Again."
Mhm.
I mean, the popular ones.
So there's something to that. Maybe that last album, the last album before they broke up the first time, the self-titled album, which is my favorite Blink album personally.
So
It's like you have like all of this with Robert Smith from The Cure on that album. They were very clearly going in a different direction there, but then I guess real life got in the way. Which you mentioned you didn't want to hang out with them. They didn't want to hang out with each other anymore. Like they were very clearly not in the right place to make that music anymore. And as much as that sucked at the time, I think that's kind of a good example of, sometimes things just work out. Most people don't stay friends with the same people for that long, and where it becomes basically hanging out with maybe two people that were really, really your good friends, maybe your best friends. But if it was suddenly your job to play music with your best friends, and that's what it was, it's a job. It's a fun job. It's cool. I love playing music, but if it was my job that I had to do every night, I'm sure it would get grinding, and there's nobody, it's said that like nobody knows how to hurt you quite like family does. Like, so yeah, being around these people that know you better than anyone all the time, and just being kind of miserable, and then you add in the stuff like painkillers and other vices that may have affected them at the time. That's a heck of a cocktail for just kind of a self-destructive not a lot of relationships, much less a band where you really need to be on the same page, are going to survive in a situation like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so thematically, and as far as an album that flows from start to finish, the California album with the new guitarist, to me, is great. I love that album. And I can't say that I have loved much of what Tom has done in the last
in that same
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that in some ways, even though the first time around it seemed like Tom was kind of at the very least the artistic winner of the Blink breakup, and this time maybe it's the other way around, because they found, instead of trying to just doing a whole different band, they're kind of just moving on without him, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you can argue, and you probably could make a success. Like, I didn't listen to the super deluxe edition that came out of California. I mean, there's something maybe a little bit sad about guys in their mid to late 40s still thinking about being teenagers.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of their songs are. But to me, I think they've evolved enough where it's still party music. I think it's still surfer, skater music to an extent, which is what their roots are. But they're not. It's a little bit. It has evolved a little bit.
I don't know how I feel about California. I like it. I have the same thing. Like, it's really hard to get around the fact that they're mid-40s now. Like, you can see the wrinkles on Mark's neck as he tries to sing "What's My Age Again" when they play shows. Like,
you can see the gray in his temples. Like,
yeah.
his hair. Like, obviously he colors his hair now, but I think at the end, you're gonna hit that wall, and people are gonna be like, no, I don't want to hear new stuff anymore. I want to hear the hits and nothing else. And you can either fight that and keep
Eminem.
Yeah, keep putting out new stuff and trying to stay relevant culturally and trying to recapture what, the political statements or the zeitgeist that you had, but maybe it's just better if you just play the hits. The end.
We were applauding ourselves.
How can I meet you?